what I do know is time continues to go by. It goes by for me and for you. And who are you becoming? What are you becoming? I love the word becoming. And that's why my business is Becoming with Becky, because I like the action of becoming because it helps me allow myself to be in progress. Welcome to The Word Effect with me, Becky Jane Kemp. This show is all about the language of leadership and how the words you choose shape confidence, resilience, and connection in leadership and in life. Welcome to The Word Effect. I'm Becky Jane Kemp and so happy to have you with us. It is going to be quick but effective is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the power of becoming and the power of intentional growth. So how are you? Summer is in full swing. Life continues to move by. Some days seem slow, some days seem quick, or maybe our weeks are quick, our days are slow. But what I do know is time continues to go by. It goes by for me and for you. And who are you becoming? What are you becoming? I love the word becoming, and that's why my business is Becoming with Becky, because I like the action of becoming because it helps me allow myself to be in progress. Now, a lot of times we like at the end or the beginning of the new year, we set goals for ourselves. And we also maybe set intentions, or maybe you remember people like to pick a word for the year. Did you pick a word for the year? I did. The word I picked was growth. It's been interesting. I picked a word for many years now, and it just kind of comes to me. I just become aware to a word that I want to focus on. And the word that I chose this year was growth. And I think there was a lot of reasons behind it. In January of this year, I got together with a group of friends that I get together with once a year, and we do a little retreat. And the retreat is just where we spend time together. We go down to St. George, Utah. It's fantastic. It's some me time. I really enjoy it. But one of my friends, she brought stuff to make vision boards. Now, I've made a vision board before, but it was just fun, just pulling through magazines, pulling out words and different pictures that maybe I wanted to see happen in the year or in my vision. And so as I sat there, I decided, you know what, I'm going to do a growth board. I'm going to put things on my growth board of things that I want to be working on or working towards. What I love about the visual is it keeps me focused. It helps me remember, because there's so many things that can distract my gaze. So as I sat there, I put these different things together, and I thought a lot about the word growth. What is growth? You know, the older I get, the more wisdom I feel like I acquire. And a lot of it is just due to experience. More experiences I have, not all good, but every experience is for our good. If we can look back at it, we can generally see that good things are taught or learned, or lessons we can take away that we can apply later in our life. It's been interesting because when I've looked back at my life, anything that I've gone through, even if it's been challenging, I've been able to ask myself, would I go through that again? And with what I learn from it, it's normally in the hard that we get our most growth. Doesn't mean I want that, nor do you probably, but growth is always happening. We don't have just a time where life just stands stagnant. We're either growing or we're going, is what I've learned. Growing into the person we want to become, or going and just sitting on the sidelines and not doing much of anything. That's how I lived a lot of my life before I started using the power of intentional language. So being intentional with your words makes all the difference. So back to my vision board that I made with some friends. I started thinking about what I wanted to have growth in for the year. And I knew I was running for Mrs. Utah America at the beginning of the year, and I wanted to have fun with it. I wanted to grow into that experience. It's something I've never done before, and I felt called to do it. And so I put that on the board. I found something to represent that. I knew that I am in school finishing my communications degree and I'm getting closer to getting my bachelor's degree. It's something that I want to accomplish. I did a couple years of college when I was younger and then I got married, started having a family, and I don't regret any of the choices that I've made, but it's time to finish and I'm getting my communications degree. And so I put that on my board. I also put that I wanted to have fun with it and to have good experiences with it because I can take anything and make it heavy. I wanted to relaunch my podcast, which yay, I have. And I want to tell you why. I I love the power of connection and I love the power of communication. I learn so much from others, and I hope that you will join in the word effect and learn from others as well. And that's one of the reasons is I've brought the word effect podcast back. I want to have guests because I want to get perspective from others and what their words mean to them and different ideas and tools that they use. Because I tell you, when you hear them, they might be something you want to choose to put on. They're ideas, they're possibilities. And it's so great as humans, as we connect, we can help each other and we might hear that very thing that we need to hear. So, my very first guest next week, when you watch, and listen, and it's with Dr. Paul Jenkins. And I'm so excited for you to meet him. He's an amazing speaker and coach, but he comes with the background of being a psychologist. And he definitely believes in how words matter. And he's going to share some amazing tips. And what I love about this is as I continue to work forward, I want to write another book on the language of leadership. And so I'm looking for guests and people that have leadership skills that they can share so we can find those common denominators. Because I don't want you to just take my word for it. I want us to learn together to become that person together that each of us are meant to be. And different words will gravitate and influence us for different reasons at different times because we might hear what we need to hear. And it's going to be different from your neighbor. So growth is definitely something that we want to have happen. Another thing I put on my growth board was I wanted to be more physically active. I wanted to exercise more consistently, specifically with lifting weights and being more mindful with my choices, learning how to say yes more and learning how to say no when it's appropriate to say no. There's several other things I put on there. One, a fun thing, I haven't accomplished it yet, is I want to get a newer car. It probably won't be a brand new car, but a newer car for me. That's on my growth board this year. And I have things like I want to work on having fun, enjoy summer baseball, gratitude. I have lots of different things that as I look at this, the words and the messages remind me of where I'm headed. Because you see, words are our compass. They direct us in the path that we want to go. And what we think about, we bring about. So if we are choosing to put on words that put us forward in progress, good things can happen. So, what does intentional growth look like for you? I chose the word growth because I knew that this year was going to be a stretching year for me and a lot of growth opportunities. Some I anticipated and some I did not. When I went and spoke at AAO recently, the American Association of Orthodontics, I had a dentist or an orthodontist come up to me and ask me about training his team and training them on culture. And I said, yes, I can do it. And I've done a lot of training, but I haven't done training with an orthodontics team. And so that has given me growth to put together a proposal to be a consultant and to go forward. And I just believe that we learn as we go. And that is how we grow. But we have a choice of where we're going to be going. Are we going forward and upward, or are we holding ourselves back? I think back when I started NSA, it was the middle of 2019 when I finally started to admit that I wanted to be a speaker. And I started saying it out loud. And then the right people and places came into my life. And one of those was to become a member of the National Speakers Association. And I've shared this before, but the first time I walked in that room, I didn't feel like I knew anything or anyone. And I felt so uneasy. It was a lot of discomfort. But discomfort, you guys, is the currency of growth. And I'm so glad I walked into that room and I didn't run away. And even though I sat there and I felt uncomfortable, I decided to go back. So much of growth is by showing up each day, depending on if you want to or not. Guess what? We still show up. We learn to honor commitments to ourselves. We learn to take the next right action. What's my next step? If I waited till I wanted to do things, I wouldn't get very much done because most of the time I think, I don't want to work on that. I'll do that later. Right now, I'm in the final things of designing some curriculum for the Salt Lake Community College and their workforce trainers on effective presentations. And I've been given a budget to work on. I've been given so much that I need to accomplish, and I'm getting to the end of it. And though it's going well, I can feel the heaviness of what if it's not perfect? What if I miss something? But the only way you'll know, you guys, is if you take the step forward and show up. And so what I do is I just put on my calendar, today I'm working on it for 2 hours. Tomorrow I'm working on it for 2 hours. The next day I'm working on it for an hour. And I pencil in my life. I show up to my life. It has made such a difference by honoring those commitments and showing up. It's how growth happens. You have to decide ahead of time and then you stick to it. The thing that makes us human is that we all can make decisions ahead of time and feel good about it. But when it's time to do it, a lot of times our brain is balking and going, this is too hard. Maybe I don't want to do this. What was I thinking? Anything like that sound familiar? Yeah, I experienced that as well. And then it makes us change our mind. Now, there's nothing wrong with changing our minds. As humans, we have 100% to change our minds, but we want to make sure that we're changing our mind for the right reason, not just because it's hard. My common reaction to life a lot of times is quitting or going the other way or pretending I didn't really want to do this. But that doesn't really get me the results I want. As I've been doing different trainings, I realize that the same thing is for almost anyone I've met. We all have goals. We all have dreams. We all want to be growing in some way or another. But what keeps us from doing it? I think it's our words, the words we choose to put on. If we don't know how to honor commitments, we put on words that don't allow us to show up on a regular basis. Showing up is so powerful in the power of growth. And that's why I'm doing all these things. And that's why I made that vision board. It helps me remember. At the beginning of the year, I'm all gung ho, but now we're into the middle of the year and we're halfway through 2026, and I can remember what my goals are, what I'm working towards. So when I start feeling my brain and myself not want to show up, when I start feeling myself pulling away, I can go, wait a minute. And I can remind myself of what my focus is. And what you focus on grows. If it's positive, it will grow. If it's negative, it too will grow. We each have the power to decide where we're going to grow this year. So growth is a choice. I love the power of choosing, the power that each one of us has to choose as humans. We get to choose what we focus on each day. And the thing is, we can be kind to ourselves. If we do something and then we change our mind, we can always change or we can always become better. Remember, becoming is the word of the day as well, because we can always be working towards something. Growth requires curiosity. And I talk a lot about this as I keynote. The power to put on curiosity is to ask better questions. Maybe go back to, why did I want to do this? You know, when I was running for Mrs. Utah America and I was Mrs. South Jordan, I had to ask myself, why am I doing this? Because there was times that it felt really hard, or I was put in a situation that put me out of my comfort zone, or I was asked to do something I'd never done before. And I had to go back to my big why. Why am I doing this? I had to be curious and remind myself of my big why. And then I got into the how. How do I take the next step? And I just kept showing up and showing up. And then before you knew it, I was on the stage and I was doing something that I had always wanted to do, to just say I've done it. It just was such a win for me. Another thing that growth requires is courage. Now, courage is a little bit different because courage means to do the thing even when you've never done it before. How often do we think, oh, yeah, I do it when this happens? I've heard that many times. I remember when I started my podcast, the first time I heard a really successful podcaster say, hey, don't worry about it. People probably won't even be listening until you actually get good at it. So you'll learn as you go, and then you'll build your listening following. And that's always stuck with me. And I think about it often with anything. Why do we do what we do? Because we're moving forward. So you, my friends, can practice growing. So this is what I want us to do. Great leaders never stop learning. Great leaders never stop growing. Curiosity fuels growth. So we want to keep being curious. So I challenge you, what are you working on? What is something that you want to grow into? Put the power of words to work for you. Maybe put it on a board, write it down, put it somewhere where you can see on a regular basis. Keep it simple, and then just start doing the next step, and then the next step. Show up and do it even if you don't want to. To do that, I have to just tell myself, when I go to the gym, I've been loving doing these classes, but I have to tell you, you guys, I get to the gym and they're about an hour class. And as I'm walking in, I think, oh, I have so many other things to do. I have so many other things I could be doing. I don't know if I have time for this. And we start the first 5 minutes and I have to tell myself, I could do anything for an hour. But when I get done with that class, I am happier. I feel so much of a sense of accomplishment, and I honored the commitment to myself. Sometimes we have to take the long view in growth instead of the short view, because the short view is, you know what, I'm tired. I'll do it tomorrow. And maybe I don't really want to do that. Any of those sound like you? That's what my mind always offers me, those kind of excuses. So practice putting on growth. Think of at least one thing you want to grow into and put it down. Between now and the end of 2026, where do you want to grow? And as the podcast continues, we'll be listening to others that talk about how they are growing and how they are using words in leadership. What you're going to find is a common denominator. These are truths that we all have to go through. If we want to grow, we have to go through these things. It's pretty amazing to see this. So think about where you want to grow. Write it down. Make a board of it if you need to. But go and step into growing. Because the words you put on have an effect. It can be a positive or a negative. So I challenge you to try this. As I look at my board, like I said, I'm about halfway through, a little over halfway through. I have accomplished a lot of the things. And the other ones I still remember and I'm working towards. It keeps my mind focused. Words are our compass and they keep us on the path that we want to go. So become intentional with your words. Who are you becoming? Ask yourself that as you keep moving forward. Until next time, everyone, take care. To learn more about my work as a leadership speaker and coach, visit becomingwithbecky.com. Subscribe to The Word Effect and join me next time as we explore the power of intentional language.